Hi, I'm Erica.
And I'm Komal. We're from Google Developers, and here to tell you about Developer Student Clubs.
Developer Student Clubs train thousands of student developers globally and work with their communities to solve real-life problems.
I'm sure you're curious how it works. Google selects amazing students from across the globe once a year to be a Developer Student Club lead and start a club on their campus.
These clubs host workshops to help students learn about Google technologies.
And they work with local businesses, startup NGOs, even their universities to build real solutions for real problems.
These leads believe knowledge is power and that technology can do extraordinary things for the world.
They take on the responsibility to help students learn and empower these students to solve real problems around them.
Through this experience, they not only bridge the gap between theory and practice for students, but leave a legacy of impact.
Join us in building a global community for students.
I originally belonged to a town in Pakistan called Hyderabad. While I was growing up, I used to see people working on these magical boxes called computers. I used to get fascinated by it a lot because you could actually use it for talking to people around the world or play games. But while I was growing up, I used to see a lot of men using computers. So I wondered if technology is for men only. My dad encouraged me to pursue computer science so I could learn about the world of technology. Computer science in Pakistan is a field predominantly with men. So I wasn't surprised to find out that I was one of the only 2 girls in my entire class. And despite getting good grades and being very active in academic activities, it was difficult for me to find that confidence to lead. Suddenly one day, I found out about this program by Google called the Developer Student Clubs and mustered the courage to apply as a lead for my university. I simply couldn't believe the day I received the acceptance email. Being selected as a DSC lead not only connected me with several Googlers or industry experts, but also helped me build connections with students globally. The most memorable experience was connecting with the DSC leads from across Pakistan and getting a deep dive into Google technologies through a lens of a community builder. DSC had me think about all the incredible people, personally and professionally, I wouldn't have met, and friendships I wouldn't have had if it wasn't for the community. I learned the art of interacting with people, pitching my ideas at hackathons, working with stakeholders, and also problem solving, which not only helped me win 2 national hackathons, but also the DSC signature competition, the Global Solutions Challenge. I believe DSC is just a start. It helped me connect with myself in ways I could have never imagined. I hope that young girls everywhere can step up to create their own opportunities in the position of leadership. And that's the cultural shift I want to bring in Pakistan. Because saying yes is the best thing you can do for yourself.
Saya dilahirkan di Bojonegoro. Ibu saya mendidik saya boleh bermain, tapi bermainnya itu nggak boleh jauh-jauh. Terus saya melihat kakak saya kebanjiran, yang paling parah itu tahun 2007, di mana rumahnya itu sangat tenggelam, banyak korban jiwa yang ditimbulkan, dan kakak saya itu kehilangan.
Kemarin ya lumayan, kemarin. Ya.
Kalau airnya semakin tinggi kan, nggak bisa lalu lintas kendaraan kan nggak bisa lewat, kita biasanya pakai perahu. Palingnya kalau udah agak parah lagi kita ngungsi.
Warga juga pasti resah, kalau enggak sebelumnya belum diberitahu kan resah. Kalau sudah diberitahu kan nanti ada persiapan.
Saya ketika kuliah di PEN sini, saya pertama kali tahu DSC itu dari dana. Seharusnya kita bisa menghindari hal buruk terjadi ketika kita mengetahui apa yang akan terjadi. Dana membantu saya sekali dalam hal tersebut bersama tim untuk membuat aplikasi L-Float.
alertnya itu bersifat kayak misal di sini bakalan ada banjir, dari pemerintah bakalan langsung, tidak berdasarkan yang sebelumnya berdasarkan data kami, itu berdasarkan dari WhatsApp. Nanti setelah itu penduduk bisa ke posko terdekat. Di sini ada lokasi-lokasi poskonya. Terus kita bisa kayak ngeset arahnya belok kiri maupun belok kanan gitu ada. Karena kita memanfaatkan teknologi arahan juga dari Google. Oke, sudah selesai?
Oke, selesai.
Oke.
Kemudian kita mencoba ke sana, kita menunjukkan ke warga Bojonegoro.
Kalau sekarang kalau ada aplikasi ini kan bisa langsung masuk ke HP-nya masing-masing. Jadi semua warga langsung otomatis langsung tahu.
Di sini kita milih Balai Desa
Mulia Agung,
tujuh
ya.
arah.
Ya.
Di sini kita bisa lihat di posko ini ada berapa banyak orang.
Membantu banget berarti ya, sangat amat membantu.
Iya. Ini rencana emang akan kami rilis ke Bojonegoro.
Oh gitu ya.
This is the power of DSC. Students all over the world, we can learn and teaching together and also to solve local problems.
Dengan adanya aplikasi Elfood ini, saya merasa sangat senang sekali saya bisa membantu warga masyarakat Bojonegoro, terutama untuk kakak saya.
All right, everyone, we are live. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining in with us for this wonderful session around growing your technical skills. So we have an amazing lineup of speakers today joining with us to give you an understanding about how they grew their technical skills and also what they value as technical skills as well. So we are doing this session as a part of Skills Level Up. Skills Level Up started off last year as a program to talk about how students can grow their career success, how they can become better leaders for the future. So that's something DSC is also trying to promote during this year and previous years as well in South Asia and Southeast Asian region and across the globe as well. Awesome. So with that note, I would love to invite all of you to let us know from where you are tuning in today for this amazing session. Just leave it a comment. Just let us know from which country that you're joining. And we are welcoming each and every one of you for this insightful session that's going to happen in a short while. All right. Without taking much time, let me give an introduction. Cool. So my name is Shafraz Rahim. I'm a part of developer relations team here at Google. So I work with developers very closely to make them successful through our platforms, programs, and many more other areas as well. So if you are interested in connecting with me, there are a couple of social channels that you can reach out to me, and I'll be happy to help you out as well. And I'm really excited to be here today at the Skill Level Up Growing Your Technical Skills Challenge. So I'm seeing we have a couple of attendees coming in from Indonesia, Malaysia. Hi, everyone from Philippines, Sri Lanka, and from Pakistan as well. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Awesome. So this won't be this whole session will not be possible if we don't have support from our developer space Singapore friends. So developer space is hosting a virtual developer space because of the COVID-19 situation that we are facing. But developer space is actually a physical space. And there's a team behind who's helping out for developers to host impactful sessions, to talk about different technologies, to host empowering programs at this physical space. So developer space, Google Developer Space, is a platform for developers and startups around the region to learn and connect with one another. And Developer Space aims to empower and connect community to our people, programs, networks, and technologies. Google Developer Space regularly hosts online events with developers and startup communities. So do go and check out their social links. I'll be showing you in a little while. Do go and check out their social links and join yourself up so that you will be notified into these events when it happens. All right, so these are a couple of the links that I could share with you. So they're available through Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and also if you want to reach out to them directly through their webpage, that's also available. Awesome. Saying that, thanking our developer space, virtual developer space support. Now we are moving into our session. So for today's session is going to be very important to students and recent graduates, and even for academia also, who are interested in knowing how one can grow their technical skills. Because I think sometimes it might be challenging for you to kind of understand which technical skill is important, what actually the hiring managers are looking for. And sometimes you might not be, you might be learning about C++, C, or maybe Java, Kotlin, Go, Flutter. You might be learning a lot of technologies and you might not know which area that you should be going towards, which skill that you should be improving, and many more questions. So if you have doubts around technical skills, etc., just leave it a comment. Leave it a comment in our live chat, so we can pick those questions and get it answered from our panel, and we can help you out through this particular session. Awesome. All right. Thank you everyone who's tuning in now. So this is the agenda for today. We'll be kicking off today's session by we'll be kicking off this session by introducing you about the whole event and giving. Then we'll be moving on to a fireside chat with our speakers. We have four speakers today who's joining with us. So all of the speakers have different backgrounds. They come from different, they bring in different perspective into this fireside chat. So it's going to be very important and insightful as well. So finally, we're going to end this session with a Q&A where we'll be picking up your questions and getting them answered through our panel of speakers for the day. Awesome. All right, so it's time for us to meet the panel. So let me introduce the first speaker, Albert Padin. Albert Padin is a Google developer expert for cloud and machine learning. And he's also a developer and entrepreneur who has worked on consumer, enterprise, government software products. He's the co-founder and the CTO of Simp, a design development startup studio. At Simp, he has architected and developed solutions for 500 startups, Office of the President of Philippines, and the World Bank. So pretty interesting names over there, pretty interesting profile as well. So I think you will have a lot of questions that you might want to ask from Albert. So keep them coming in the live chat. The second speaker who will be joining with us today is Tuan. Tuan has started his journey with natural language processing research during his university period with CS major. Later on, with his involvement in the open source community, he changed the course of his career to be a software engineer, focusing on Android platforms since 2011 because of its open and dynamic community. Ever since his passion for Droid and even being cultivated and grew, he has been trying out Kotlin since he found it in 2015 and started building Android applications with it in 2016. And he's the ex-VP mobile at Lazada Group, head of engineering at Galaxy One, and founder of Kotlin User Group, Ho Chi Minh City. So if you are joining from Vietnam, please do let us know you are joining from Vietnam. We have a esteemed speaker who's joining from Vietnam today as well. So the third speaker is Walid Darshad. Walid Darshad is a mobile technologist and a co-mobile developer. He has recently been titled as the first person from Pakistan to become a Google developer expert in Flutter. He mainly focuses on developing cross-platform mobile applications on Flutter, and is always inclined towards consistently coping up with leading edge technology orientations. He has been a part of IBM, TPS Worldwide, Karachi Electric, and many more other ventures as well. Walid has an experience in both startups and working for corporate as well. As a community lead in Flutter Karachi, he has organized 4 major events in Karachi in the year of 2019, with a couple major online events. And he has spoken at Google I Extender, Google DevFest, GDG Nobe, Flutter Study Jams, and so on and so forth. So let's welcome Walid. And if you are joining from Pakistan, let us know. We have an esteemed speaker joining with us today from Pakistan. So the final speaker for the day is Yongshin. Yongshin is a vibrant community lead based out of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Yongshin is also a senior software engineer specializing in web and mobile front-end development using React and Flutter. She is also director of Women Who Code Kuala Lumpur, non-profit organization that aims to empower women to excel in tech careers. So we are welcoming Yongshin as well, and I've seen there are a couple of our audiences joining with us today from Malaysia as well, which is pretty fantastic. And I think Yongshin will bring in a different perspective to this whole conversation as well, being a leader in the community. And also, she just finished one of her events before she joined into our conversation. So that shows commitment towards the community and her passion towards sharing all this information with you. All right, without taking much time, I would love to invite all our panelists to the show. All right, hi everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you for taking time for today's session, and it's lovely to have all of you joining today. Thank you very much. How do you feel about this whole experience?
Super excited to be here. Super happy to be here.
This is the first time that I have chance to connect to a wide broad audience, like across all the South Asia countries like this. Super excited.
Awesome. Thanks, Tuan. Thanks, Albert. Thanks, Walid, and thanks, Yongshin, for joining with us today with this amazing session. And I'm pretty sure the attendees gonna learn a lot from you in terms of how they can grow their technical skills. So to start off, this question is going to all of our panelists who is joining with us today. So can each and every one of you tell in brief a bit about yourself, your education journey, and the career journey so far? Who wants to go first?
I guess we should go alphabetically.
Okay, awesome. We can take that turn. We can go alphabetically.
Should we start from letter A? That's me?
Yeah.
Okay,
we can start with you.
Yeah, so I've been in the industry for about 12 years now. I have a company called Synth.co right now, and this is my 4th company, where it's basically an agency. So as you can imagine, the first 3 companies that I had didn't work out quite well. These were startups. I would like to think that this 4th one right now that I have is still a startup, but it's been an agency for about 10 years already. So that's my background. I'm also a GDE for cloud and machine learning, and yeah, that's my background. Next, I pass it to Tuan.
Thank you. So hello everyone. My name is Tuan, and right now I'm based in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. So glad to connect with all you guys from on the other different countries. So my background were a bit on the mobile, and most likely in my most deep expert were in calling. So I was recognized at the calling, the GDE for calling last year, and the most exciting to me is that is the ability to explore new technologies and also to have to spread new technology, and the way that we work efficiently is to all the developer as well, to help them, to inspire them. So that were like the whole journey that I'm following right now at the technologies people. Glad to connect with you guys.
Awesome.
And Yobsen.
Me?
Okay, so
I'm supposed to be
I guess it's
the last one.
yeah. I guess it's my turn. So yeah. So, hello guys. This is Waleed, and I'm from Pakistan. And I've been working in cross-platform mobile applications since after graduation. So I have been working in different sort of companies. Like I have been working in big corporates like IBM, and I have been working in very basic startups. One of the startups that I started off from my own along with my colleague. So I have been working in that as well, and I've been working in power sector here in Karachi, which is Karachi Electric. So we distribute power in all of the city, and we have been I have been working in core software development company and software house as well. Currently, I'm working in Venture Dive, which is software export company. We develop software here for in-house for Pakistani companies, for companies outside of Pakistan. So currently, I'm here as a Flutter senior Flutter developer, and apart from this, I'm leading Flutter Karachi here in Pakistan. So this is the first community from Pakistan which is endorsed and recognized by Google. So they support us. They sometimes fund us as well. So I have been community lead for around 2 years. I started this, and I have a team of 8 to 9 people, good people. We organize events here in Pakistan. So yeah, that's another journey. And I'm a Google developer expert as well. It's been an year right now. So I became a GDE in March last year. So it's been a complete year, and it's amazing. It's really cool, and I'm really excited to share all of these details and things and questions that you ask. So best of luck, and thank you so much for inviting. And it's really great and honor to be a part of all of these panelists with great experience and awesome people. Thank you.
Awesome. I think Yongshin, your turn now.
Yes, finally. Thank you. So my name is Yongshen. I'm from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And I've been working as a software engineer for 6 to 7 years now. So maybe you can guess my age. Where my work was mainly focused on building web and mobile apps, mainly I'm using React and Flutter. And I also help to organize and run events for Women Who Code Kuala Lumpur, where as Shafras has mentioned just now, where Women Who Code is a non-profit organization that aims to empower women in tech careers. So to share a little bit about my journey, I did not graduate from a computer science degree. I actually graduated from a math degree. Then I moved on to study masters on engineering, where my main focus is on machine learning and video analysis. Then I got my first job, which is in MNC that provides banking solutions in Malaysia. And I was assigned to do some research on analyzing bank check images, signature verification, face verification, and so on. Then after that, I moved on to web development. And then back then, I was working on an e-wallet website. Then after that, I moved on to building mobile apps with Flutter. And there I fell in love with Flutter and started my journey of speaking and sharing about the goodness of Flutter. Yeah, so that's basically it.
All right, awesome. As you can, all of you can see, we have a diverse panel of speakers today because they bring in different type of perspective into this panel discussion, which is like fantastic. Thank you all of you for that sharing of your past, how you started off, maybe a little bit about your educational background as well. So as you can see, there are changes throughout which has happened during the course of their journey. They probably would have started at a bigger company and then move into a smaller company. and then probably they have started with a smaller company, went to a bigger company, whether they have changed their like discipline that they want to focus on as well, which means it gives you sort of a hint, kind of an understanding that, hey, it's always not fixed when you want to kind of grow your technical skills, or maybe how you want to navigate through your career journey as well. Awesome. So the second question is going to be interesting. For most of the graduates, or maybe the audience which is joining with us today, are mostly will be students. So students might be a little bit like trying to like figure out, hey, after my graduation, what's the sort of first job that I should be going to, or maybe kind of like, how do I really know what I want to do after my graduation? So that might be kind of a very tricky and challenging situation if in case if you don't have clarity what you want to do. Sometimes like some of the audience might not have clarity at all. So the question is to all of you: did you know what you want to do after graduation, and how did you land in your first technical job? So that's a question gonna go to all our panelists. We're gonna go alphabetically or reverse alphabetical. How do you want to do?
This time reverse.
Let's do it reverse. Awesome. We're gonna start off with Yongshin.
Okay, cool. So for me, actually, before, like even before the graduation, I already know what I want to do. Maybe that's because of my father's influence, because he is also a software engineer. So I aspire to follow his footsteps because I just find there a lot of fun when messing around with computers. Yeah, and as in how did I land my first job? I got my first job through internship. So then after I graduate, I just went back to the company where I interned at, and then they offered me a full-time job position as a software engineer. Yeah, that's for me.
Awesome. Walid?
Yeah. So I just want to add something that Yong said. So I also kind of knew that what to do, but the problem is that in computer science as well, like if I knew that I have to study computers, there is a lot of whole different things inside computer as well. So you can either become a coder or a designer or a machine learning expert or data engineer. So that is also a different different difficulty level of deciding what inside computers you want to do. So from the very beginning, from first standard, from very when I was very little, I knew that I had to study computers. That's what I knew. I already knew that. And by the time I was graduated, I was about to graduate, so I knew this one thing, that I want to do coding. That's period. Like it's there is no compromise on that. I have to do coding. That was the one thing that I knew. Now, what sort of coding? Whether I want to be a database administrator, or I want to code in SQL, I want to code in C++, or I want to code in mobile, that was unknown. I didn't know that. I just wanted to do good coding, very good coding, and write good code, write good scalable applications. That was what was in my mind since I was graduating. So after that, that was the thing that I knew before graduation, that I have to code. Now, what do I have to code? That was unknown for me. So when I landed on my first job, that was at IBM, and that was an internship, and that was a cloud evangelist position. So that was not a technical position. That was not what I wanted. That was not the coding thing that I wanted. That was a pure salesman job. So we had to sell IBM cloud to startups. Obviously, that IBM, we need to know the technical things inside that IBM cloud, because different sort of startups came to us asking about Java in cloud, asking about mobile in cloud. So we had a team where we studied the cloud according to our own expertise. So I studied Java inside the cloud. So whenever a startup came in Java, so I used to help them with all the stuff. So I did coding in that job, but that was not a part of the job. So I did that on my own. So I tried to code in Java on cloud and stuff like that. So that was not a coding job for me. But I learned a lot of different things from that job because that was a pure sales job, and I knew how to write emails. I learned how to communicate with people. I learned how to sell things to startups. I learned what different kinds of people are there, what different behaviors they have. So that was a different learning experience. That was 8 months of internship. After that, I joined TPS, which was a pure coding job. That was my love job. So that when I went to that job, that coding job, so the experience that I had from IBM, that was extraordinarily helping me out there, because that is when you are a pure coder and you have communication skills as well, so then you are blast. So everyone, you stand out among others, and that's the whole journey that led me to becoming a GDE and a community lead and stuff like that. So yeah, I landed my first job as an internship. IBM called me. I guess my university, sent the CV, or they just picked up my CV from university. So I landed as an internship on in IBM, and that was a great experience for me. Not my thing, but it was a great experience. So yeah, that's it from my side.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Walid, for that explanation. I think like two of our panelists have had figured it out by the time that we were graduating what they want to do. Let's see what our next two speakers have to say. Go on, over to you.
Hey, thank you for the question. So, to like, I will graduating from the university in 2012. So actually, before I identify myself as a software engineer, I was more like focusing on academics. So my for first 3 years, I was more focusing on research and supporting my research group. We have a research group over natural language processing and artificial intelligence in general. So it was mostly like we are inventing new methodology in processing languages and computing languages in general, and especially to support our Vietnamese language. So it was my major, and I really love that. We did some great job in researching, and the result is there. But like it was like very first option. You have the results, so no doubt you love it. But when I had the chance to help my school to run some contests, so there were a question from them were like, can I help on creating some piece of software so that they can power their contest within the school? And I was like really eager to help my friend there, so I said yes. And it was like a very basic window form based on WPF, and it was amazing experience when you create a piece of software and other people were really love it, and they are taking the use of it, and they serve so many people in that contest. So it was the very first like measures, major clue for me to know like, is this something that I'm really looking forward to getting forward in my career? So I don't really know like which were like the major the thing that I love more at that time. I was just simply like, I love creating software, and that was just I don't have a much idea about like, is that web, is that mobile, is that desktop application or so. So it was like I let the opportunity like collapsing together, and then give me an idea like what are the things that I'm loving. So that was my very random story here.
Awesome. Thanks, Ton. Thanks for that explanation. I'm sure a lot of us can relate to that. The love for the technology brought us, most of us, into this arena. Awesome. Albert, let's see what you have to say.
Yeah, so mine is a little bit different. Okay. I did not want computer science or this software engineer. In fact, when I was picking my university course, I wanted to become an electrical engineer. That's what I wanted to be, an electrical engineer. And what happened was I got a scholarship offer from a university, but they only had business and this course in the Philippines we call information technology, which is like computer science. And so I had to choose between business and computer, like information technology. So I kind of picked the computer course, then not the business. I picked it because I didn't want to do business. Like that's kind of what my reasoning. So I wasn't exactly like picking my dream course or my dream path. And so I ended up with information technology. And for the first year, I really loved it and I enjoyed it because I had so much free time. Like it's like I was always in the computer lab and I was just there, browsing Friendster. There's this thing called Friendster before. I don't know. This was a precursor to Facebook, and I was just there every day playing flash games, and that was my first year. My life kind of like took a turn when I was second year in university because I had a friend, I had an older friend who wanted me to build a website for him, and he was willing to pay me for it, and money sounded interesting. So I was like, okay, like give me money, I'll make you a website. And I had no idea how to make a website, but he trusted me with it and I committed to it. And then so I Googled my way. Like I Googled my way, asking questions on Google, participating in forums. Stack Overflow back then was very, very new. In fact, a lot of questions in Stack Overflow are made by me. Like simple JavaScript questions, like how do you add a string to another string in JavaScript? That I ask those questions. I have a high Stack Overflow points because I have a lot of really basic questions that have a lot of upvotes. I'm also the one who answered my own question. That's how I'm an early user of Stack Overflow. So I Stack Overflowed my way, forumed, Googled my way to learning how to build a website. That was my second year of university. I actually didn't graduate yet. I have to say yet because my mother might be watching. I promised her I will graduate. So I haven't graduated yet because remember, in my second year university, I ended up like freelancing, right? So, I built a website for my friend, and then a friend referred me to another friend, which then I also did some work for them. And so then I got busy, and then I started to realize that, hey, I could start my own business. This was also about the time when Google bought YouTube for $1.7 billion. And I was like, dude, that's a really easy way to make money. Easy. So I said, I'm just gonna do like, this thing called a startup that YouTube did. So I built my own startup, ran it for like a year. That didn't work out. I built an online grocery. It's too early for its time. It didn't work out. Then I built like a food subscription business. That also didn't work out. And then I did a more serious startup, an app that lets you dial names instead of numbers. I ran that for about 2 years, and finally, like, admitted that I couldn't, get it off the ground, and I failed. So that was my third, and now did fourth. All the while, I forgot about school. I was on my last year in school, like my last subject. It's called like the thesis thing. I didn't come back for it yet. So, yeah, I would say in summary, did I want this? Did I choose this? Not really in the beginning, but I'm actually quite happy with how it turned out. And I just basically got to where I am by saying yes to opportunities, learning the skills that I needed to at that moment to make the commitments that I've made to deliver on the opportunities that have opened in front of me at that moment, and then just saying yes and delivering, yes, delivering, learning as I go, failing, getting back up again, and I think that's how I ended up here, and I'm quite happy with where I am right now.
Awesome. That's a very inspiring story, Albert. I'm pretty sure you're going to keep up the promise to what you kept for your mom. So good luck with that. So I think like all of our audience can see what sort of diverse background all these panelists have brought in, how they kind of like went through the journey, same footsteps that you also might be taking at the moment, trying to like figure out whether I should be doing developer job, whether I should be doing a business analyst job, project management job, some other technical job, what I should be doing. You might be figuring it out. And then as you can clearly say from the speakers, some of them knew what they want to do, some of them didn't know. They let the life to take on its own turns and then become successful as well. Awesome. So we are moving into the third question. Before we move on to the third question, please do let know if you have any questions in the live Q&A section, so we can get those answered during our Q&A session. And I'm seeing already our speakers are also helping out and answering and engaging with our audience too. Awesome. So the third question is going to Albert. So Albert is a CTO of Sim. Is the CTO of Sim. So Albert, now there's this saying which goes as technical skills can be taught, but soft skills aren't. So what do you think about this statement? And as a hiring manager, what do you mostly look for when hiring?
Right. So I actually, this statement, I've heard this a lot. Technical skills can be taught, soft skills can't. There is some truth to it, but actually, the truth is closer to technical skills are easier to teach than soft skills. So that's more of like the closer to the truth statement there. That said, that's why technical hiring managers or hiring managers in general tend to hire people who already have the soft skills, because it's easier to teach the technical skills, right? Now, if you are somebody who is struggling with soft skills, so what are examples of soft skills? One, communication skills. Second is like, empathy, relationships, teamwork, um, presentation skills, delivering, cooperating with your teamworks, and then these other soft skills that, see, I'm even struggling like to name soft skills. This is how, like, kind of like, it's easier to teach the technical skills because I just go Flutter, Google Cloud, App Engine, like Java, Python, Go. Like it's very, very common. But soft skills, you kind of have to be more intentional to do it. So, for example, most people say that I have good communication skills. What most people don't know is that I've spent a large part of my life honing that skill since I was young. Like I was 15 years old, I've already been speaking on stage and practicing that. I also went to workshops where they teach you how to communicate. There are workshops, there are training for soft skills, but you have to be intentional to develop these things. So the way I like to think about this and the way that I would advise people to do is, when you plot out your career, you identify not only the technical skills, not only the soft skills, but you identify all the skills that are needed for that role, both technical and soft skills. These are all the skills. It comes in one package. And then you then learn all of them, right? You seek it out intentionally. And of course, the technical skills are easier to learn. The communication skills, you kind of have to learn, practice, be very intentional about it. And the other things that you would have to learn in terms of soft skills, these are harder to find, but definitely worth the investment. And that's why when I, as a hiring manager, would get applicants and candidates, I usually look for the people who have already honed their soft skills, because it means that they have invested in those areas much more than others have. Yes, and the thing with soft skills also, they can be taught at home or even in school and relationships that you have. And sometimes, some people get it just because of being, as a privilege of being in the right home, right? In the right environment, or in the environment where it's been cultivated, that kind of soft skills. But if you are not in that kind of environment, then you definitely have to take the extra steps to learn and seek that out for your own. But I just want to clarify, soft skills can definitely be learned. They're just a bit harder to learn, but can definitely be learned. And you should start now, because it's harder to learn. So start now, so that by the time 2 years from now, you kind of already are made a lot of progress in that area.
Awesome. Thanks, Albert, for that conversation, and then the points that you brought in as well. And I'm pretty sure if you're following Albert already in Facebook and other social media, he's so much active. He's communicating with the audiences because he keeps improving himself. He doesn't kind of like stuck himself in saying, hey, I'm a CTO now, I'm comfortable, I'm good with the things. He's not, but he tries to keep on improving on the communication skills as well. Because if you have seen, Albert on stage. He's one of the most engaging GDEs who have spoken at different events as well. So I think you can learn a lot from him through by watching his videos, the way that he engages as well, and that applies to all of our panelists over here too. So the point that I kind of want to make is that now reiterating from what Albert mentioned, it's easy to learn technical skills, but it's a little bit harder. It's not so. It's not impossible. But rather it takes time for you to learn. And having said that, soft skills. Now we kind of like making a turn towards technical skills, because the whole session is about how you can grow your technical skills. We kept one thing out of the way, which is like soft skills are important. That's like a very important subject matter area. Now we are moving towards technical, how you can kind of grow and what you can learn as technical skills as well. So this question goes to Walid. So Walid, since you have worked at different companies like big corporates and then at startups as well, and you clearly mentioned that during your work as a advocate at IBM, the experience that you had as well. So what is the difference between working for a startup and a big company? That's first one. And second two pieces are, how do technical skills requirements are different from one entity to another entity? And the final piece of that same question is that what type of different technical skills do you think one can learn from these two entities? A little bit lengthier question, but I'm pretty sure you'll have a very good explanation on that.
Okay, so first of all, I would just appreciate the fact that whatever Albert shared about about that specific topic regarding hiring managers, what they look for in people. So that's that's really motivational, and that's really important for everyone who's listening right now. So if you already have soft skills, you stand out among all the other people. So yeah, you can always learn technical skills easily. So if you have soft skills, you will be preferred. That's the point. Okay, so what is the question was that what is the difference between working for a startup and working for a big company? So first suggestion from my side to students is you should not go for working in a stable company immediately after graduation. Point is that immediately after graduation you should struggle. You should the coal that you when it's scrubbed, only then it becomes a diamond. So that's rubbing, that's scraping, that's scratching, that's necessary. So if you land up in a stable company immediately after graduation, you won't be that company won't be needing your services, because that company is already stable. You need company services. Companies don't need your services. Stable companies. So whether you work or not, whether you do put in an effort or not, the company is going to run and it's going to be stable. That your effort won't matter. So when you are graduated, try to work in a small company, try to work in a startup, try to work where you have a lot of things to learn, and the company depends on you. Go to that place where your work is important and it's dependent, and only then you will be struggling and working and start. Okay, now the part where we are talking about the difference between startup and corporate. So in a startup, you have to do everything. Everything means you will have to do web development, you will have to do machine learning, you will have to do mobile development, you will be doing a lot of stuff, because a startup is itself in a struggling state. So whatever comes in, whatever project comes in, whatever sort of project comes in, the developers that are available, they have to do it. So when I was working in a startup, I was working in machine learning as well. I was working in developing algorithms for for deep learning as well. and I was working in native mobile application. I was working to develop SDKs, to develop iOS frameworks, to develop backend REST APIs in C#. So that's totally diverse. One side you are working on a cross-platform application, the other side you're working on a .NET C# core application, which has nothing to do with mobile. So working in a startup, it's really, it can be frustrating as well, but it's really, there is a lot of things to learn. So you have a different taste of different technologies and different technical stacks and different also you need to deal with people as well. So in a startup, there are times when people, when your managers, when you're in a startup, usually you have that higher management directly over you. So there is no manager, no nothing in between. So in a startup, it's usually the CTO or the CEO directly managing the developers. So sometimes what happens is they send you directly to the client to implement something, to have a meeting, to have something like that. So it's a whole lot of learning journey in a startup. So my suggestion would be, when you graduate, try to work in a company which is small, which is struggling, which is a startup, so that during the first 2 to 3 years, 2 to 4 years, they are your struggling years. So you need to struggle in them. You need to don't need to get comfortable. If you're comfortable in that, then you're gone. You won't be able to learn, you won't be able to grow. So in order to grow, you need to go out of your comfort zone. And out of your comfort zone means a small company, startup, a software house, which has strict timings and which have strict deadlines, and they're working on weekends, they're working overtime. So that's whole experience that you need to gain when you are graduating, and when you're young and energetic. In a corporate, that's all very, very slow. I worked in a corporate immediately after my graduation, which is a disadvantage as well, and which is an advantage for me as well, because I immediately switched after 8 months. So yeah, that was an experience. But in a corporate, things are very slow. At IBM, there were no young people. They were all aged people. They used to come at 9. They used to leave at 5:30. At 5, laptops started to close, and people go home peacefully. No rush, no haphazard. If you want to initiate something in IBM, there is a whole lot of process for that. It takes days for us to get out an IBM logo for an event. So it took days. You need to apply to a portal, and everything goes very slowly to one person. Then they approve it, and then they go to other person. So it's not instant. Everything is not instant. Everything is very calm, very slow. IBM is 106, 107 years old. So that's a very, very stable company, process oriented. They don't get affected by people leaving or people coming. If their CEOs are changing, if their hiring country managers are changing, they don't get affected, because it's so process oriented that they don't get affected with that. So it's a very, very stable environment. You don't have pressure. You are coming on time, going home on time. So that's the point. That's the area where you go after 10 to 12 years of experience. When you have kids, when you have a family, and you want to go home on time, and you don't want a lot of pressure situations. So that sort of places where you go after 10, 12, 15 years of experience. When you go at 9, manage some people, go write some emails and give some presentations, and then come back home peacefully at 5:30. That's the place where you want to go after 10 to 12 years. But immediately after graduation, you will be bored. Like you will be like, oh, there is no energy. People are just coming here and talking and having tea and writing emails and going home. What's this happening? So actually in IBM Pakistan, there is no development, there is no coding. So all the development is in the US. So obviously they were all sales. So sales people, they are usually in the meetings, in presentations and emails. So that was the whole environment. So working in a startup and working in a corporate, that's the basic difference. How do the technical skills and requirements are different in the entries? Yeah, so that's a good question. In a startup, in a corporate, in a corporate, you don't need much technical skills. You only need soft skills. So when you're in a corporate, and a corporate where there is no development, because I was in a corporate where there was no development here, so we didn't need technical skills. We just needed to understand the product and then sell it to startups. So that was the one thing that we needed. So for that, we only needed great soft skills, great dressing skills, great emails writing skills, great presentation skills, designing skills, so people dealing skills. So that was all we needed. So technically, you might not need a lot of technical skills when you're working in a corporate, but yeah, if the corporate have in-house development, if the corporate has things like main core development within their office, so yeah, then you might need some technical skills. Even then, that's not as compared to a startup or a software house. So in that, you are totally a pure developer, a pure coder, a pure designer, a pure data engineer. So that's where you need complete pure technical skills. They don't really care about if you have soft skills or not, because they have people who are going to sell, and you are the one who are going to build. So in order to build, you need to have very strong technical skills. So that's the whole point of difference between requirement of technical skills between these two. What type of different technical skills do you think one can learn? Yeah, so you learn what you like, you learn what you want to do. That's period. There is nothing after that. So in a startup, you can learn a lot of different technical skills. As I said, that there can be machine learning as well, there can be mobile development as well. So in a startup, you can learn a lot of different technical skills. In a corporate, that's where you will learn those technical skills in which the corporate itself works. So for suppose I was in K Electric, and K Electric uses SAP, so SAP as a module. So there were a lot of technical skills related to that. So if somebody is working in there, so they will be learning to that specific technology. So yeah, in a corporate, you have a limited set of technical skills that you can learn. In a startup, you might have a greater technical set of skills that you can learn.
Awesome. Thank you, Walid, for that detailed explanation on how and what of these things are, how these entities are working, and what type of sort of expectation that you have seen on all these entities as well. Thank you for that. And I'm sure all our viewers would have questions around that as well. And one more comment to add on to that: if you are looking for an organization to join, do a little bit of research, what type of an organization that is and what type of team that is. So according to that, you can make a decision as well. All right. So the next question goes to Yongshin. Yongshin, so now Walid spoke about what type of technical skills all these entities would love to have and what the audience can expect as well. Now, let's see if someone's technical skills need improvement. What are the ways or resources that a person can improve these skills based on? And what type of tech stacks do you think these students should be learning first?
Okay, thank you, Shafraz and Walid. First of all, I would like to add on to Walid's point. I totally agree to his point where the first job should go for the companies that can offer you more opportunities. So you should go for the companies that can offer you the steepest learning curve, because learning at work is the best thing that you can do, because you get paid, you get paid to learn, and then you gain the experience that adds on to your own values. So if possible, at your job, please ask your boss to give you some time to learn. I used to do that a lot when there is not much task to do, and most likely the company is happy to give you that. So not just in terms of time, but also the money that you need to pay to enroll in a course. And there's one more good thing is, because when company pays you to do so, then they might expect you to give a sharing to the company, teach your colleagues, or even like show a demo of what you have learned, which is also good for you. So with that, I highly recommend taking a structured course online from time to time. So this can be applied to both beginners and intermediate users. Like for advanced users, like maybe you have already been very familiar with a framework. There's still some things that you can learn from these courses. So you can also use that to fill in the gap of your knowledge. And one more thing for students, I think it's also good to take the CS50 course from Harvard online, and it is free, and it explains the fundamental concepts of computer science in a very interesting way. Until now, I still find that there are some things that I don't know today as I watch it. And the other way is to learn how to Google for solutions. So sometimes your use case is very specific, and when you're looking for answers, you might not find a direct answer on Stack Overflow. So you can learn and try to break down your problem so that you can increase your chance of finding your answer. Or you can also try to imagine a similar use case and try to search for the codes in GitHub. As for the second question on the tech stack, what tech stack students should learn first? This is going to be very dependent on which track you plan to pursue. So for me, if I'm interested in front end, then you can start from web. So if let's say you're interested to build websites, it's always safe to start from HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Like get yourself really familiar with the concepts. And yeah, I think until now, CSS is still very hard for me. So, and then after that, you can pick a framework like React, Vue, or Angular, and then you can go deeper from there. Yeah, so I think for tech stack, it kind of, you need to do your own exploration. I cannot tell you which track you should go for. So if you are not sure, then just try it out. It doesn't harm to just explore, maybe do some side projects. Then by getting some hands-on experience, then you will find yourself, okay, maybe I'm more interested in doing this web application, or maybe I'm more into mobile app, or maybe like even more into backend or data science. So it's all up to you. And yeah, just go out and explore more.
Awesome, spot on. Thanks, Yongshin, for sharing that. And the idea behind asking the question itself was to showcase to our audience is that there's no sort of a cookie cutter method to find which tech stack is good for you, but rather it's up to you to decide based on the technical path that you are planning on taking. Based on the technical path, you will have to figure out, or maybe reach out to experts who would know that particular technical stack to understand how they became an expert on that particular area, so that you can learn from them as well. So Yongshin, thanks for your thoughts on that. Tuan, we are moving to the question towards you now. Yongshin spoke about there's no cookie cutter method that one person can talk about, like a tech stack, how they can learn about it, but rather having an understanding, the basic understanding about technology is important when you want to pursue a technical career path. So now, when you're taking a technical career path, usually there'll be like assessments where companies would want to, like, when they want to hire, they'll want to do like tests. And then in terms of like internships also, there'll be like different type of mind-blowing questions that people might want to ask, etc. So, Tuan, what do you think? How do you think someone should prepare for these technical tests when applying for jobs or internship as a developer? So that's part one. So the second part is the final answer that Now, is the final answer that the developer would give is the most important piece, or is it the method that they have arrived at an answer? So what do you think, Tuan?
Okay, thank you for the question. So it will so much relevant to what I'm doing right now, because I'm taking the role as a hiring manager for my team as well. So it would be like two parts of the question. The first part is that how much and should you prepare for the technical test when applying for a job? So yes, the question is like from my perspective is yes. Preparing for the technical interviews is something. It's just like preparation for anything that you are about to do, and it is important enough for you, so you need to prepare it. Like you may have a lot of experience in different field of software engineering, but it does not necessary to be like you have to like working on everything at the same moment, right? So having some time to prepare and to collect everything together and make sure that you are at least you are able to prepare yourself on what you have been doing, especially that is your strength, that is your excellent point in technical competency, and prepare it. Because somebody will maybe like some hiring managers will start asking the question about something from your strength, right? So what is your more like strength in the technical competency? You can pick one field and you can start talking about it. It may be a free flow interviews from some company. They may run that kind of testing so that they can exploring the strength from the candidate. There will be also a set of questions that more likely to be covered. So it depends on the domain, the technical domain that you are applying. For example, like you applying for as the mobile developer, there will be a set of primary questions, but more of them will be covering what you are doing. You will be just doing fine by preparing yourself on this question. It's about the way that you express your idea in a very fluent way that people can understand the idea of you are talking about, right? So it is very important for practicing the way that you communicate, and especially when we have the interview conducting in English, right? So we have a more likely we have the interview that is conducted by English speaker or somebody who requires to have the interview in English. So it is very important for you to practicing these questions and answering, not necessarily to focusing on the topic that may be asked, but rather than to prepare yourself in the mental like in a mental set that you are going to answer this question in a very like well-structured way to express your idea. And the second part of the question is that more important on the way that you are approaching a problem, you solving it like in a step-by-step, or the final answers will be more valuable, right? So the question is more like you approach final answers is very important to me, because it is the way that is not always especially important for the open-end question. For example, like people asking about system design, the way that you design certain features or certain functionality of the whole system, right? So it is the process you are tackling with the problem. You identify what is the requirement, what are the challenging point, what is the kind of like optimization point. So you go step by step by identify what is the list here, what is the problem you are trying to solve, how you tackle a problem in a very structured way, like which step you will take first, what is the next step, where the point that you are reaching to a new problem that needs to be solved. So it's a way that you are selling your idea to the interviewer, like you are solving this problem for these kind of like methodologies. And that also very important for people to understand how you will solve the similar problem when you are being a part of their team, right? So and of course the final answer is also important, because for some very obvious questions. For example, like if they are asking about something like they're asking you to evaluate the complexities of a certain implementation that they giving you, approaching how you analyze the algorithms is important, right? So that you then you can sell your idea, but also the final answers is also important because it is like to help you to verify if you have a correct answers on your overall methodologies of solving the problem. So that would be my advice on like tackling with the technical question in interview.
Awesome. Thanks, Tuan, for that explanation, because it's very important for folks to know, as a hiring manager, when they kind of like face an interview, like all the students or the audience that currently tuning in, once they kind of face an interview, or rather like a test, what type of discussion would it happen from on the other side of the um, table. So it's very good to know what type of expectation is required as well. So I think with that, I have like a quick sort of question that I kind of want to answer. I kind of want to get your opinion as well as the final question, and then we'll be quickly moving on to our audience's question as well. So the final question is about, like, most of the time. So this question is to all of you. So finding what one person is passionate about might be difficult, because some folks say, hey, follow your passion, follow your passion. Sometimes people don't know that what they are passionate about as well, right? So it can be frustrating when there's no sense of direction, and people can be wasting their time trying to figure out, hey, what I should be doing, which technical skill should I be kind of pursuing, which technical career should I be pursuing. In situation like that, people might be like struggling to identify in such situations. So I'm sure you might have faced such incidents as well in your career, in your life, as a technical personality. So in your opinion, what was your guiding principle when you were lost and when you didn't know what you want to do when you were lost? So what was your guiding principle, which I'm sure our audience can be benefited out of that? So, okay, let's go alphabetical again.
Okay.
One last time.
All right. So, from my perspective, when I started, I would just have to say that I kind of just chased the next shiny thing in front of me, right? Like what I saw, I chased, and what opportunity presented itself to me, I said yes to, and I gave it my all. And I just kept doing that again and again. And I could see that nowadays I get this question a lot, actually, where people ask this exact question, where how do I like plot out my career to get the best possible way? And the truth is, if I stopped and I asked myself that question of like, what should I do in order for me to optimize my career in the best possible way, I think I would have wasted too much time thinking about it, optimizing for the best, that I would miss so many of the opportunities in front of me, and I think it would have slowed me down. That's obviously there's no way for me to like find out if that's true, because I've only lived once. But I think my advice to younger people is that don't like it's good to think about like how do I get the best in my career, but don't spend too much time thinking about that, because that can actually lead to something called like analysis paralysis, where you so obsess over getting things right, getting things perfect, getting things in the best order for you, that you actually lose out and miss out on what is out there. I would say my life right now is probably only 80% best. Right? It's only 80% best than what it could have been. But I'm pretty happy, like how where I am right now and where I'm headed. Could it be better? Obviously, right? But if I spend so much time thinking about this, I wouldn't be able to move as fast. I won't be able to say yes to opportunities. I wouldn't be able to seek out opportunities out there. So, yes, seek out what's best, ask these questions, but be careful not to spend too much time obsessing over them because they can suck a lot of time and take away opportunities. All right, that's it from me. I pass it to
Awesome.
Juan.
Hey, for me it was like I'm not trying to pursue any kind of like technologies or tech stack in general. It was more for me were like what the problem that I'm trying to solve. So it was like in different stage of the careers, you have different problem that you need to solve, right? And it was at the very early day of my careers, it was like I try to expose myself to anything that is throwing at me. So it was like I have nothing, right? I have nothing. So getting exposed to different kind of like problem help me to know about like how people are working together. What is the most common pattern to solve a problem? You know, like you never work on real project where like 100 people working together, and you don't know like how a product getting designed until the point and how the engineering team getting on board and start delivering things. I don't know on any about that. So it was like my problem at the very early day. We're trying to getting to know how the software industry getting work together and how the product are really built. In the very next day, my problem were more focusing on a specific domain. For example, like I will try to help people on the healthcare. So I dip myself into this healthcare domain. For example, like I know how people want to protect their privacies with the data record on healthcare, right? I need to embed myself into the fields of the IoT device where we are providing kind of like embedded experience. Like we want to help elderly in a way that is protect them, detect them some abnormalities in their normal daily life. So that will when we have a problem, and then we need to solve that problem. So that requires some additional domain in your technology. For example, like anything that you never be like approaching before. So you need to have a problem first, and that problem going to guide you what kind of technologies, what kind of tech stack to solve. You don't necessarily at the beginning know how to solve the problem. There's a lot of expert domain out there. Just seeking out there the advice from these people. They will give you some hints, some keywords, so that you can start digging into deeper on how to solve that kind of problem. And along the way, the problem will bringing you to different kind of perspective, right? You may be like be happier when you're working on a mobile domain, right? You may be more happier on working on cloud architectures, or maybe on providing an overall architect solution for the problem that you are solving. So getting exposure, and then you will be finding your passionate along the way. Just you just don't need to be staying at one point and then just let the opportunity passing by you. Just chasing them, and then you will be able to finding out your passionate along the way. That was my advice.
Awesome. Waleed, over to you.
Yeah, so this is a really great question. I have few points regarding that. First of all, I would add what Albert said. Stop thinking, start doing. That's the one thing that you need to do. You need to stop wasting time in thinking what's best for you, what is the best thing. Oh, he's doing that, he's doing this, what should I do? No. Stop thinking, start doing. What's the worst that can happen if you stop thinking and start doing? You do one thing, you will fail. That's the worst that can happen, right? So you will know, okay, now this is one thing that I can't do and I should not do. This is one thing that's not my thing, so I should try something else. Rather than wasting that time in thinking, you won't be failing into that thing, right? If you start thinking, you won't be trying that thing and you won't be failing, so you won't be knowing what's not good for you. That's one point. One thing that I do is when I'm lost, or when I'm when I'm thinking that what to do, what should be my passion, is things that make me happy and things that I love to do. this is one thing that you should do, that the things that you do that make you happy, that make you stable. Because if you are mentally stable, if you're emotionally stable, then everything around you will be stable. And that can only be done when you're doing things that you love, that you like, and that you don't consider some work or some workload or some pressure. Because things that you do, if you consider doing them as a proper work, then you won't be indulging in that, you won't be doing with a lot of happiness. So whatever you love, whatever makes you happy, do that. Second thing, what I do is I try to whatever I do, whether it's little or it's big, I try to make it such that it is beneficial for someone else. So when you do anything that's beneficial for someone else without the intention of getting anything in return, that's the point. So when you do things for others without getting anything and without the intention of getting anything in return, you will have fantabulous advantages of that thing, because you are doing it for others. So first point is, do things that make you happy, that you love. Second thing, you do it for others, not wholly, but there should be some part which in your work, in everything you do, that should be for others. And that should be unconditional, and that should be unconditional love, because that's what we are sent here for. We are sent here for helping others, for making other people's life better. Third thing is, again, Albert's point, whatever came into my way, I tried that, irrespective of the fact that I'm failing or I'm passing. I tried that. So whatever coming in my way, I tried that, and then I came to know, okay, this is the thing that I can do, and this is the thing I cannot do. Then whenever I saw someone doing some things, I just got it. I just First, one more thing I want to add, that you don't compare yourself with anyone. That's the most important thing. If you see someone doing something, so that's his whole life, that's his journey. And if he's earning through web development, so that's his journey, that's not your journey. He has done a certain set of actions that led him to that way. So you can try building websites, you can try what he's doing, and then you can know, okay, whether I am able to do that or not. But don't don't compare yourself that he's doing that and I'm not doing that, because you have a different set of actions and he has a different set of actions. So you don't compare yourself. The last point is, try to solve a problem. That's what Tuan said. Try to solve a problem. If you find anything that can be solved using technology or using anything that you have, that a skill set you have, try to do that. Try to solve a problem. And whenever you are solving a problem, whenever a client comes to you with a project, or whenever you have a project, don't fit your skill set into that project. No. Learn that project and then see that what technical skill sets that project requires, and then learn it, or apply it. So rather than fitting whatever you have learned into every project, try to understand the project and then design driven it. That it should be design driven. It should be whatever the project is related to, and whatever best technology that can be help to solve that problem. So that should be the other way around, not whatever you have learned you try to fit that. Whatever is required, that should be applied to that project or to that problem. So that's it from my side.
Awesome. Thanks, Walid, for that explanation. And now, Yongshin, what are your thoughts? What was your guiding principle?
Well, to me, there are two types of people, like one with too many interests, or one with no interest or is lost about what he or she is interested in. So for the first type, I know that there are many people who have too many interests, and I'm also a person like that. And it's actually a good thing, because it means that you will find joy in a lot of things that you do. So for people like this, you can start doing something that make you enjoy a lot and continue from there. Because whatever you do, you might not see the point now, but dots, it always connect backwards. So for whatever you have done is already been added to your skill set and to your portfolio. And for me personally, I switched tracks from machine learning, AI, and then to web, and then finally to mobile. And that's okay. I'm still surviving because I haven't stopped learning and I haven't stopped improving my skills on both soft skills and technical skills. Well, on the other hand, there are also some people who does not know what he or she is passionate about. So I want to address to these people as well. So for students, when you are young, you have the capacity to explore and to try things out. So my advice is you can look around, like just look around you, see what are the things that create a spark in you. And it doesn't matter how small that is, it is usually an important clue of what might interest you. So just try to look out for those things, and then can go online and search for the things that you might be interested in, and then go from there. So yeah, my advice is to just explore and try out more.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Yongshin, for that explanation as well. And I'm sure our audience today have learned a lot from your experiences as a technical personality in your own communities, doing some change, bringing some change to empower more and more developers, because you have walked their path and now you are in the phase of helping the others also to become successful in their own rights. So now we are moving towards the Q&A section, where we'll be picking up a couple of questions from the audience, and then we'll see how we can kind of help them out in this regard. So let me pick, there are a couple of conversations ongoing as well. So Carl has this first question. I'm used to working alone because of the group work in school. Consequently, I struggled in defining the actions behind the word teamwork. In the context of startups, how does team show teamwork? Who wants to take this question? And I think Albert has answered in a couple of steps as well. But I'll be happy to kind of like get your opinions as well on this.
I think I can take a piece of these questions. So I worked in several startups along the way, and like startup were one of the unique environment where you are trying to solving a problem with a lot of constraint, and one of the biggest constraints were the constraint in the the supporting of the human, right? So your team may be like a very small team at the very early day in like just a couple of people, but you have to do a lot of work just to get the product getting built and getting rolled out to the user, so that you can validate the market before getting some small investment from our investor, right? So it was like each of you have to work like a job of 3 people at least. So you may be like a mobile developer, you maybe need to support the development of the backend, you may need to jump in to set up your own infrastructure as well. So anything to get that product run out to the market, then you will be able to do it. So it was like where the teamwork is demonstrate its value here. So you have to work with your friend, with your colleague, with your like people at the very early day. You are trying to solve a problem, not because you are like you are paid to do that, but more than that, you are all working together at the same goal. Like your product is your goal, getting product live, getting it proven is your goal, and people having the same goal work together and fulfills it of the perspectives of the development. You don't consider yourself at a back end, at a front end, at a mobile. You are a part of the team. You need to do everything to support the product to be successful. So that is, that's a very, very obvious way that you can see how teamwork, you work together. One of you missing from the pictures, and then the whole product cannot be realized into the real one that can be served our user. So that was my experience.
Awesome. Thanks, Don. Thanks for that wonderful explanation. And I'm sure Carl has got perspective from different speakers as well today, and I think that's helpful as well. All right, so we are moving on to the second question. I think there was this one question which asks us around. All right, Vidyanto wants to know, what is the path to take if I want to go for AI and ML? So who wants to take on that? Yeah.
I mean,
Albert?
I can share how I ended up with AI and ML.
Yeah.
So I ended up with AI and ML. I was on a flight to San Francisco to join Google I/O, and I had spent a lot of time in in the plane and in the airports, and I was trying to figure out what should I do with this time. And so I decided to like, hey, why don't I just pick up this Coursera course by Andrew Nung about I think it was about artificial intelligence and machine learning. It's a pretty popular course if you look it up by Andrew Nung. And I remember watching it in the airport in Hong Kong, which is a layover. And I remember being dumbfounded by actually, I was like thinking to myself, why did I not appreciate my calculus subjects back in college, right? In university. I keep on asking the teacher, when is this going to be useful? Are we going to use this in real life? And the answer came to me in that moment, like, okay, now this is useful in real life. And I regret not paying attention that well on the calculus courses. But so that's how I eventually started to learn. I took up the Andrew Ng course, and then when I arrived in Google I/O, I talked to some Googlers, which will help me like learn TensorFlow as well. Primarily they helped me install TensorFlow in my laptop because back then it was not easy to install. Now it is super easy to install. You can even run it in a collaboratory notebook online and run it from there. So I would suggest taking up the Andrew Ng course. I would also suggest playing with the quick starts in TensorFlow that helps you get a big picture of how AI and machine learning works. I would also maybe advise you to take up some side courses on statistics and how that works. Yeah, but I remember a while ago, Yongshin mentioned something along the lines of take up structured courses. I think the best way to learn AI and ML is through structured courses. Like you could copy paste some snippets in the internet and you could get a model up, right? And you could be like, oh, I got something to work, and that's cool. And I did that as well. But to really understand and grasp and have an appreciation of what you're doing, be able to solve bigger problems, you need to know the fundamentals. And there's no way around this. You need to take a structured course, and you're going to have to go through it over a couple of weeks, a couple of months, maybe even, and go through these courses and really cover the foundational skills that you need, the foundational knowledge that you need in order to reach AI and ML. So usually the benefit about taking these structured courses is they actually already answer the question that you have, which what is the path to take. So they lay out the path because it's a structured course, right? So do that. Some of the courses may actually be behind like a paid service, like a Coursera or a LinkedIn Learning or a Udemy thing. I would suggest that you take the investment and do that. The quality of the courses are much better behind these platforms than the ones that are just purely available like for free online. Although you can learn from just the ones that are free online, the quality of the courses behind the ones that are paid, they're usually they're much easier to follow, and they're structured and edited very well. So yeah, that's my advice for everyone who's wanting to take the path of AI and math.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Albert, on that explanation. I'm sure that's very wonderful because this is something that you learned on the go, and then it also showcases that from our previous conversations that if you really want to learn something, there are multiple resources that you can reach out, like resources available online that you can definitely reach out to and grasp those for your advantage. So we have like bunch of questions coming in. but I think we are closer to the end of the program, but I'm sure all of our speakers will help out even after this session to answer a couple of your questions, since this will be available online as well. So we're going to go for one last question around certifications. So there's this one question around certification. So let me pick it up. That's by Abdullah. Abdullah wants to know, I'm doing a fellowship on MERN development, and I want to go towards cloud computing in the future. Which certificate or learning path will help me the most? So this is going to be an interesting topic, like a question who wants to kind of like answer and give their inputs on that. These are around the certifications. All right.
I
guess Albert.
Yeah,
I guess Albert answered it in the chat.
Yeah. So Tuan, do you have anything specific as well that you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, like I'm crossing my name out of the people who can answer this question, because I didn't have any certificate.
Awesome. Okay, awesome. So I think Albert has helped us out to answer that question, which I'm gonna pick it up as the answer. Abdullah Khalid, AWS and GCP have a lot similarities and differences. So yes, it helps you, but it also helps if you want to take GCP focus certifications as well. I think Abdullah had a couple of the doubts that he wants to kind of like clarify in terms of certification. So in my opinion, if you are planning on certification, which is a good path that you can take, because certification, professional certification gets you to be kind of understand what does their industry require and help you to prepare for that. So that's one of the key metrics when you kind of want to get into a job or like a different opportunity. Employees will look for, hey, does this person have a certification on hand? Which means the person, even though a newcomer or like a fresher coming out of the university, they have like kind of gone through this process of getting a professional certificate. So that would help out in terms of like kind of to highlight from the rest of the crowd as well. Awesome. So I think we have like bunch of questions coming in, but unfortunately, I think we are out of time at the moment. But I'm sure our speakers, esteemed speakers who joined from various aspects of this technical backgrounds, have helped us out to answer those questions as well. So with that note, I would kind of like to, I would love to thank all of our speakers who joined us today. Thank you very much, Walid. Thank you very much, Tuan. Thank you, Albert. And thank you, Yongshin, for joining with us for this session on a Saturday evening. Some of you, it's morning, helping us out to clarify these students, because you also have gone through this session, and we would have much appreciated if we had the same support as well. So thank you to all of you, and I'll be putting you into the backstage. But our audience, don't leave now, because we have a couple of more announcements that we want to give you, and there's this one free opportunity available, learning opportunity as well available for you. So stay tuned until we present about that as well. Alrighty. So solutions challenge, and I think, let me get my presentation up. Awesome. So we are done with the Q&A, and then we are moving on to talk about the solutions challenge. So solutions challenge is basically, if you have not already checked out information about solutions challenge, you should check it out, because Google Developers Students Club's 2021 Solutions Challenge is about solving one of the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals using Google technology. It's pretty important and it's pretty timely, because we are living in a world where there are changes which happen due to the COVID-19, and also SGDs trying to solve different social issues through this 17 sustainable development goals as well. So in order to help this out, to be in the forefront of this whole technological advancements, Google is hosting a solutions challenge, and I think we have a video on that as well that we can watch.
Let's check out the solution challenge.
Let's do this.
Okay, I'll present my screen.
Welcome to the Google Developer Student Club's 2021 Solution Challenge. The mission of this challenge is to use Google technology to solve for one of the United Nations' 17 Sustainable Development Goals, aiming to end poverty, ensure prosperity, and protect the planet. Win cool prizes, mentorship from Google, and swag. Get help along the way from Google at training events, code labs, and hackathons. Submit your solution by March 31st, 2021. Register today. We can't wait to see what you build.
Let's get started.
Awesome. So Solutions Challenge is now open for project submissions, and if you are a DSC member, build a project and submit it to the Global Solutions Challenge and solve one of the UN 17 Sustainable Development Goals using Google technologies. Simple as that. So you can apply if you are a DSC member and DSC is available in your country. All right, so let me move on to my next slide, which is about Google Summer of Code. Some of you might have heard about Google Summer of Code already. Some of you might not. GSOC is very well known as GSOC. Couple of countries who are joining with us today, or members from joining with us today, have like very high levels of ranking in Google Summer of Code. So if you didn't know about Google Summer of Code, GSOC is gearing up for start of student applications, and we need to help spreading of the word with the communities and networks. This is the 17th year of GSOC, and GSOC is basically, it's about an open source. It bridges the students with open source projects. So if you are a student, if you want to kind of contribute to an open source project, you can submit your proposal by checking out what are the available projects, and then the organization which has posted about this open source project will pick it up, like certain candidates based on their proposal that they have submitted, and then you can start working on that. This is an important opportunity, like a very valuable opportunity if you are a person who wants to build your CV, your skill sets, your technical knowledge on certain different technologies which you might not have had access to before, or you are not taught in your university. So this is a self growth opportunity, I would say. So be a part of this Google Summer of Code. Along with this, Google Summer of Code doesn't leave you without any sort of advantage. So they recognize you as one of the contributors, and also this also gives you a stipend for completing a Google Summer of Code as well. So do check out their website. It has all the information. Applications open on 30th of March. Keep this date. Go check out this link as well. And if you go and check out previous years winners, or maybe the universities, you'll find there are multiple South and Southeast Asian country universities are represented in this website as well. Go and check out what were the projects, what are the organizations, and get in touch with all these organizations, which should be very valuable opportunity for your career growth. All right, so this is a scholarship which is a Generations Google Scholarship, which is an open scholarship for women in computer science. This scholarship aims to inspire and support year 1 and year 2 graduate students who identify as females in the field of computing and technology. As a scholar, you will receive cash award for 2021 and 2022 academic year, and be invited to attend annual virtual scholars retreat to connect with fellow scholars, network with Googlers, and participate in number of development workshops to help enhance your skills prepare you for better tomorrow. So the scholarship is only open certain APAC countries and regions. So visit in the link which is available right here on the screen. Go and check it out. Check if your country is eligible for this generation scholarship. And if you are a male student who is listening and you know a female student who can be potentially benefited out of this opportunity, let her know about this opportunity, because that can make a change for good in their lives as well. All right. With that note, I think we are moving towards the feedback section. You can get 1 month free access to Quick Labs to get hands-on experience on Google Cloud for free of charge using Quick Labs labs and then quests as well. Complete those, and then you can get badges which you can showcase in your social media, in your personal profiles. So this is a very valuable opportunity. Go and fill up and let us know what you think about this session, so we can continuously improve the next skill level up sessions for your improvement and growth. So I think you can see in the scroller as well, the feedback link is getting scrolled in and out. So you can go to the link, leave your comments in that section. All right. So I think you are aware about this, the link. Go and fill up so we can learn more about your understanding about this session, and then we can improve as well in the future. Next up, so the skill level up this year was a series of events, and the final session of the series of events is going to be around leading the next generation. And we have some exciting speakers joining with us, very experienced speakers who are leading in their own fields. So you'll be able to learn a lot from these speakers. So stay tuned. Keep your calendars marked on 27th of March, and you can register yourself through this link that you see in the screen now. So go and register yourselves up and be a part of the next session, which is happening on 27th March. You can get more information, and if you are following social media like DSC, like different DSC channels, social medias, or even developer space channel as well, you'll be able to get notified about the speakers. And please do leave your questions as well, so we can direct directly to the speakers on that particular day. All right. I think with that note, we are moving towards the end of the program, which where I want to kind of mention about developer student clubs. You might have heard developer student clubs. You might have heard about developer student clubs. You might not have heard about developer student clubs. This is an opportunity for students to be inspired to learn about Google technologies and to be a part of a vibrant community of students where they showcase, where they create content around different Google technologies, so that you get an opportunity to sort of grow your technical skills while you're at your university. So if you want to learn more about developer student clubs and where you can find a developer student club is, you can go to this link, dsc.community.dev. You can find your developer community closest to you. And if you're in your country, if a developer student club is not available, not existing at the moment, nothing to worry at all. You can go and join your GDG communities and help them out to grow. And while they're growing the community, you can grow yourself as well. So in case DCs are not available in your country, nothing to worry, nothing to panic about. There will be a GDG available in your country as well. But if there's a DC available in your country, in your city, in your campus, you should get the maximum out of that opportunity. So with that note, I would love to thank each and every one of you for joining Skills Level Up session today, which was about growing your technical skills. And I'm sure you had a wonderful time understanding about it's not always a clear-cut path when you want to grow your technical skills. It's you need to sit down, you need to take some time, and you need to kind of reflect on what you really want to do, where do you want really want to head, and say no to opportunities, say no to the learning materials, say no to resources, say no to mentors, say no to people who are experts. Reach out to resources. That's the best way that you can kind of get yourself a help and to become the next generation leaders of the world. So with that note, I would love to conclude this session, and I would love to thank Shad, Ken, for inviting me to be the moderator for this event, and hope to see all of you becoming a leader with the unlimited resources that you see around the world. Get the maximum out of that opportunity, become what you want to become. Or if you don't know what you want to become, nothing to worry. There's always shining light at the end of the tunnel. So with that note, adios. I'll see you back again in a future event. Until then, cheers. Bye-bye.